but overall, it's like the guy can ball. Like, actions speak louder than words. Welcome to the Fantasy Football Garage. I'm Chris the Candyman. Thanks for coming out to the stream. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We've got best ball content coming out all summer long. All hot best ball summer. You already know where to find it. Best Ball Mania. Tons of tournaments all coming soon. Say what's up in the chat when you get here. Leave a comment and let me know which rookies you're targeting. We've got, 3-4 days to go until the NFL draft. It's about that time. And I'm excited to do maybe a final big board tonight, maybe a couple more big boards this week. We'll see how it fits in. Little board 2 has dropped. There's a couple NFL news items that have come up over the weekend that I want to touch on. I got some exciting news to drop. I've got another live stream coming up this Wednesday night. So I'll be talking about that real soon. But first, I wanted to look over a few teams that I drafted over the weekend off stream that I thought were pretty interesting and just kind of go through them with the Best Ball Overlay. Shout out to bestballoverlay.com and review kind of how those teams went. Some of them I thought were really good. I think I tweeted out this one actually. And what it ended up being was a Bo Nix, Jared Goff team stacked up, and then I threw in a Jackson Dart, literally throwing a dart at a rookie QB. And I think it's the right time to do it as his ADP continues to rise. It's going to, if he gets a starting gig right out the gate, he's definitely going to be going a lot higher than where he is now, probably in the 150 or higher range. And what up, Green Bean? How you doing tonight, my man? Hope you're kicking your week off real strong. Yeah, so this team, it's got pretty standard running backs, 3 veterans, 3 rookies. It's a 3-6-9-2. Wide receivers on this one I took over the weekend. I have the both Rams wideouts, and then I've got 2 of those. I think I got 3 Denver wideouts, so that's pretty fun. Potential divisional bring back in either Hollywood or Quentin, and Laporta to finish out my stack with Jared Goff. Threw in Mason Taylor. Why not? So that was a pretty fun one. Yo, what up? The main man, Bendels. How you doing tonight, my friend? Hope all is well. Hope you guys had a great weekend. So this was a fun team I drafted over the weekend. And then this one is really interesting. I threw this one in the Pounders Discord. I drafted this one. It was Saturday night at 4 a.m. Central. I had woken up, fed the baby a bottle, and then drafted this team. And it was funny. I actually saw Best Ball Guy in the same room. I guess on the West Coast, it was only 2 a.m., so not that extreme, but still pretty funny. And he drafted a really kind of interesting team. But this one is a 3-6-8-3 build with Mahomes and Michael Penix Jr. and then Cam Ward all stacked up. So this one ended up really, really nicely. I got all the stacks I wanted. On this one, I've got Mixon and Pollard. So I've got Pollard starting off my Titans, Cam Ward. Team stack, I've got Pacheco. And then as we look through it, so the running backs, not bad. Not the most impressive, but kind of an anchor with Mixon, a late anchor with Mixon. And then the receivers is where it really shines. I've got Puka, Drake London stacked up, Adams, Rashee Rice, and Hollywood stacked. I've got, the Drake London and then Calvin Ridley stacked with Ward. Kyle Williams, I'm slightly assuming he might be a Titan as well. So he's another one that could be stacked up. The Parker Washington could be a bring back for the Titans. Then I got Kelsey, Pitts, and Okonkwo. Anytime I've got all of my tight ends stacked with all my quarterbacks, it just feels nice. So this one just came together structurally really well. Was something fun to do. Anthony says, love that team. Yeah, this one felt good. Hope you're having a great Monday night, my man. Thanks for joining the stream. Just doing some kind of housekeeping, looking over these teams I drafted over the weekend. This one was different. So I haven't done a ton of teams where I start off with 2 running backs. This is a 3-5-9-3 build. Started off with Genty and McCaffrey. And again, Mahomes is there. I've got T-Law on this one and Bryce Young. And this one also kind of just came together. The running back room, I mean, when I see Genty, McCaffrey, and Kamara, McCaffrey and Kamara, what year is it? Who knows? But if they can kind of continue to have a dominant fantasy year that they've had before, then that looks really strong. Genty could be, anything. Pacheco and Will Shipley just kind of capping it off. Then I got the Pacheco team stack. Rice and Xavier Worthy. So I'm double stacking with Mahomes, making up for kind of starting a little bit later in the 3rd and 4th round at wide receiver. I've also got Thielen stacked, and then I took 3 of the Jacksonville Jaguars wide receivers, my last 3 receiver picks. I thought that was just kind of a fun way to do it, even though I don't have Brian Thomas, grabbing all the other guys. I almost didn't grab Gabe Davis at the end, but thought, might as well throw him in. Colson Loveland, Jatavian Sanders, Juwan Johnson. So just a little fun team I threw together over the weekend. I was maybe assuming the big board could have filled, although I've been following the fill rate, and we're right at it closing on, I think, Wednesday night. All other things kind of equal. So 96% tonight, 98% tomorrow night, and then filled on Wednesday. The little board 2 dropped. That was another piece of news, and yeah. So how we doing, boys? What up? Been targeting Hampton in the early drafts for little board 2. I went after Cam Ward on a few teams. Yeah, that's exciting. It's really cool. The thing about the little board 2 is it's more of a time box tournament. It's only this week. So you don't have to worry about all those teams that were drafted a month, 2 months, 3 months ago. And you can get different. It's going to be hard to necessarily to get 50 drafts in for a lot of people. So just take the guys you want. And, it's one of those smaller contests, but it's going to be fun. I definitely can see myself drafting some little boards later on this week. Tonight, I'm going to be drafting 1 big board, most likely is the way it's going to go. Before I start that big board, and if y'all want to queue up and join me, I'm going to look into some NFL player news, some things that I think are kind of interesting, maybe some teams kind of giving away a tell on maybe what they're going to be doing in the draft, or potentially trading their existing starting players. So there's some interesting kind of things I want to jump into. I got a news item to drop about an upcoming stream on Wednesday. And then I got one more shout out I want to do. Before I get to that, let me let my dog in the room. She just went out. Let me let her back in. And I'm going to let me start this music up. And let me grab the dog real quick. Oh, background music. There it is. Okay. We're going to get started real soon. News items. And then exactly. Okay, back. News items. Coming this Wednesday, an NFL draft preview with Cody from Off the Schneid on the channel. Super pumped to have Cody coming out. He's real sharp. He's been doing a ton of research. I know y'all have checked out his 12-hour stream. You've probably also seen his draft kind of preview stream he did on his channel when he mocked out his round 1. I was really interested to hear his thoughts on that. And so I asked him to come on the channel. We can talk ball, talk about the round 1 landing spots, and draft a big board team or a little board team, whatever's out Wednesday. So that's coming soon. I'm going to announce it on Twitter tomorrow morning, but I'm announcing it here on the channel first. Cody from Off the Schneid is going to be on Wednesday. It's going to be a great time. So hope to see y'all there on that one. And then, what up, Emo? What up, Hartman? Other news items. Oh, shout out to the Fanspeak Network. They did their 500 subscriber giveaway. I won a few items on there. I got myself the cocktail playbook, and I'm loving it. I've been reading through. I'm a cocktail guy, so I'm really into this book. I'm looking forward to making a few of these. One I wanted to share with y'all, if I can find it. I just closed out of it, but okay, this is pretty funny. For Philadelphia, they have the Brotherly Shove Punch. kind of like a rum drink. I'm not a big rum guy, but that was just kind of a funny name. They're all kind of just puns and takes on the teams, the NFL teams. So I've been flipping through it. It's really fun. It's a good little piece. A fun little crossover, fantasy football, and of course making cocktails. This one was good. I don't know if you can see it. I'll try to hold it up. It's called the Supercharger Margarita. You can see the jalapeno in it, and it's 2 ounces tequila, 2 ounces grapefruit, 2 ounces lime, 2 jalapeno slices, simple syrup, and a cup of ice. I personally, I'm pretty much I would say a margarita snob. Houston, Tex-Mex. It's pretty much comes with the territory. So I would toss out the 2 ounces of grapefruit juice, replace it with 2 more ounces of tequila, and then I go a little bit easier. I don't really add simple syrup to my drink because I like it a little bit punchier. So I would take out the simple syrup, add a little bit more lime juice. That's just how I would do it. I would give it my own little spin. I'm excited to make that one. Have a drink real soon with the cocktail playbook. So that was fun. And a shout out to on Twitter, FF Chalupa Batman for putting this book together. And then to the Fanspeak Network, to all of those guys, them all, for hosting that giveaway stream. I think it was 2 weeks ago. That was really fun. So onward. Those are some news items, some housekeeping. Let's talk really, 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 really quickly about some NFL player news. Oof. I wish NBC Sports could do a dark theme, but maybe I could switch it over. I don't know. Easton Stick signing to Atlanta. That's me reading the tea leaves saying Kirk Cousins is probably gone. They're signing a backup this early. Who knows? Maybe it's not nothing. Maybe it's something. J-Mo could be on the trade block. That's interesting. That's a really interesting one. Do the Lions draft receiver? Shedeur fall out of the first round? We've already been saying that. That's kind of non-news. What else did I see? ETN, could he be on the trade block? That's interesting. Does Genty go to the Jaguars? That's really spicy. Is Pickens on the trade block? So we're seeing some running backs, some wide receivers on their rookie contracts. We're kind of at the end of their rope, potentially on the trade block. Is Kyle Pitts on the trade block again? And so that would be interesting. Could they be drafting a tight end in Atlanta? Are they done with Kyle Pitts? I think that was it. Those are the main news items. Yeah, Dart is a name to watch. So, and CJ Stroud is a complete boss. So with things we already knew, let's get into a big board. I think that's all I wanted to cover. Let's see how full the little board 2 is. It is 8% filled. Let's assume it gets to 20% by lunchtime tomorrow. It could fill. It could pick up some momentum. I think it could fill. So we'll see. And let me go ahead and queue up this big board. All right. Number 75 for me. Half maxed. Well beyond my goal. My goal is to do 50 big boards. I'm at 75 now. Feeling good. Ready for Best Ball Mania 6 to drop. Let's get after it. Waiting on 4 people. Yeah, so I drafted about 3 teams over the weekend. Didn't do a ton of drafting, but I made it count. Got some fire teams. Drafted some real bangers. Just team stacking while I can. Leaning into correlation when I can control it. Going for the upside rookies. Pairing it with some veterans. All the good stuff. And I wouldn't be too surprised if it takes a little bit for this big board to fill. A lot of guys have maxed it. A lot of people have hopped over to the little board. So we're waiting on 4 here. Let me see what I got. Let me see. Wait, actually, now I'll just jump to one person. So it's going to fill pretty quickly. I was going to jump in to see potentially how close a fast draft Origins would be to filling. Fast draft dropped their new Origins Chaos tournament. It's going to be live, open through the NFL draft, and I think that's going to be something that's kind of fun to draft on draft night when the underdog tournaments will be closed and all done. As soon as the NFL draft starts, the fast draft Origins Chaos drafts, which is rookie only, they'll actually be live during the draft. So Genty goes to Jaguars. Not that it matters really where Genty goes. He's still going to be the 101 in those rookie only drafts, but there's some other guys, throughout the draft. Do they go day 1? Do they go day 2? Do they go day 2? Do they go day 3? And that can really influence where you're taking them. So it's going to be an interesting format, an interesting tournament. It's a smaller one, but it's going to be really fun. So I'm looking forward to that. This one filled up. I recognize Copper Prices in the 9th spot. He is a guy I've drafted a ton with, not only here in these NFL streets, but in the PGA streets. Mike Dill's name I recognize. Who else we got? Yeah, and I'm in the 11th spot. It's going to be good. Getting this one kicked off. I've got my exposures showing. I needed a couple more 1 spots. I'm a little bit low on Ja'Marr Chase. From the 11th spot, I'm probably going to be looking for a guy like Neighbors or Amon-Ra or BTJ to be there. I could use some more Brian Thomas. I might just queue up Brian Thomas at the head of that tier, ahead of in the top spot, because I kind of need him. Hey, Gibbs going 2. Yeah, get your guys, get your exposures evened out. This tournament's going to close super soon anyway, so makes sense. Running backs going earlier. The cool thing that I kind of figured out when I started with Genty and Christian McCaffrey is, I pivoted by taking 2 of the Chiefs wide receivers, so I'm really all in on that Chiefs stack. I got Mahomes. Luckily, he came back to me at ADP or just past it. But I feel like that's one way around it, where if you're going to pivot, take the running backs early, then you really want to make like a team bet and potentially double stack early. There's only so many ways you can do that in those rounds, but it just felt really good. I think I also had Olave on that team, and Kamara. So, and then maybe had Shaheed late, if I remember correctly. So just making big bets on team stacking can make your team feel like really strong, even though you've missed out on some of these elite wide receivers, the 1 and the 2 tier wide receivers. I think that's what I want to focus on as Best Ball Mania 6, like right when it opens, is leaning into what I can control. Heavily team stacking. It's going to be not necessarily being constrained by ADP early on, knowing it's going to shift. So if I feel strongly about some of the landing spots for some of these rookies, having conviction to draft those guys, especially in the mid rounds where you could really see the value increase as we think of like the draft capital curve and like where the curve's inflection is. The guys in the middle rounds, Garrett Wilson with Amon-Ra, that's a pretty fun start. You don't see that. So he's pulling Garrett Wilson up. I would have liked to have gotten BTJ and Amon-Ra. Got a lot of Bowers. I'll go McCaffrey here. Or Achane. I don't have a ton of Achane. Let me grab some AJ Brown. I'm going to go ahead and take AJ Brown here. Start with 2 wide receivers, Brian Thomas and AJ Brown. I like that. Amon-Ra and then pulling up Garrett Wilson. That's kind of interesting. But what I was saying is that mid kind of draft capital inflection curve where a player can go from being a guy who is in the pick 100, 120 range. So kind of the end of the meaningful draft capital range before it's all just $1 auction bids, to being a player that's going in the 5th, 6th, or 7th round. That kind of jump that a rookie could make based on landing spot, I think, is more valuable and interesting to try to capture early when Best Ball Mania 6 opens, compared to just a guy who's going to go from round 18 or 17 to round 13 or 14, which really isn't that big of a difference. And then also trying to avoid the landmines, guys that are currently going in the middle rounds, but could fall out to becoming either undrafted or really kind of a standard last round pick kind of guy. So a Brian Thomas, AJ Brown start. Other than the Amon-Ra drafter with Garrett Wilson, this room is not a ton of wide receivers going early. Justin Jefferson, Drake London, another good pairing. Copper went with Malik and McCaffrey. My decision here is, and I think I'll go ahead and I'll probably aim to take Jalen Hurts. If I do it in round 3, I can grab Smith in round 4, but do I want him double stacked? Not necessarily. Probably not, actually. Probably not. You know, if I think about, I think it's a lot of draft capital really, really early in the first. 3 out of the first 4 picks on the Eagles. It's kind of a lot to have to get right. And when Hurts goes off, it hits it on the ground. So it's probably not going to be both AJ Brown and Smith getting carried along with him and having huge weeks. But at the same time, just betting on the Eagles could be the way to pay off. AJ Brown definitely missed games last year. I think Smith missed a couple games too, if I remember correctly. So maybe this season's different. But going Hurts early can free me up. Obviously, I'm going to target Trevor Lawrence at ADP, but I'm not forced to take him if I do go elite QB early. Well, we'll see. I'm feeling like it could be a Jalen Hurts team. I've been wanting to draft a good amount of him as this tournament's getting close to closing. Yeah, Jaden Daniels. Get your guys. Takes Terry McLaurin in the 2nd round, so ahead of ADP, and then stacks him with Jaden Daniels. If Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin is a stack you haven't been able to get a lot of, which for weeks at a time I could not pull it off, but I've got a few shares of it. Pairing that with Saquon Barkley is actually pretty nice. You get some divisional correlation, so that's a fun little start there. I don't mind it. It's time to get different in this tournament, bring in some uniqueness. The other thing I want to do is potentially grab a running back here. Or I'll decide when the pick comes, if I don't feel comfortable with one of those running backs that have a real different tier than what's going to be available coming back around in the 5th and 6th, then I might just continue to hammer wide receiver. Something else I've been thinking up, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to want to have about I want to have a lot of exposure of Bowers, McBride, and Kittle in Best Ball Mania. And so I kind of came up with a way to get to about double the field in my exposure for all three of them. And I'll kind of explain that further after this pick coming up. Putt Daddy says drafting's a bit rusty. Little board teams have been pretty bad so far. Needs to do some work. Yeah, get the work in, get those reps in. Taking some time off, getting back into it. DK goes there. DK could have been nice for this team. Okay, Breece Hall has gone, at some different points in this tournament, and he's gone, here and there. DJ Moore could be a really nice pick here for me. I'm going to go ahead and take DJ Moore. I like Adams too, but I'm going to go DJ Moore. Adams is just that much further along in his career. I've got plenty of exposure to him. How much did I have for Moore, by the way? Moore was right at 10%, so not that different than my Adams exposure. Why does he keep doing that? Odunze goes. Okay. Don't know what's up with that. And then Cortland Sutton. So really getting different bald man at this point in the draft. Odunze does typically go on the other side of the board, and Cortland Sutton would as well. So he is pulling Garrett Wilson, Rome Odunze, and Cortland Sutton to the right side of the board. It's interesting, and he's starting with kind of a 0 RB wide receiver heavy start. I'm going to grab Jalen Hurts here. Okay. DJ Moore, AJ Brown, Brian Thomas Jr., and Jalen Hurts. So the way I've been thinking about this, if I want about half of my teams to have truly elite tight end, you can do it by having 16% Brock Bowers, 16% Trey McBride, and 16% Kittle. So the way that you would do that is if you're drafting, and if ADP kind of stays where it is. Of course, in this draft, Brock Bowers falls just a little bit. He goes more in this middle range. But typically, and if maybe this is the way the ADPs shake out, if I've got a pick 9 through 12 in the first round, and then pair Brock Bowers with that first round pick 50% of the time, so coin flip, if I have a pick 9, 10, 11, or 12, can I get Bowers as my second pick? Alternatively, if I've got pick 1 through 4, maybe that's more appropriate for taking Trey McBride with either the second or third round pick. I mean, he falls in the third round, a little bit past that in this draft, but generally he's been going in picks anywhere from 21 to 28. So then half the time grabbing Trey McBride in that range, which leaves Kittle, and I'll have to check Kittle's ADP, but I typically was seeing Kittle going in this middle range. So the middle 4 picks, which is going to be 53 to 56. I think that's right where his ADP is. Let's just double check that. Yeah, his ADP is 50 right now. So a little bit past ADP, but generally, close enough. That's if you've got one of those middle picks, taking Kittle 50% of the time, and then you'll get some natural variation. They fall sometimes, they don't. Snatch them up, mix them, get different combinations with your first round picks. But I think that's going to be my initial plan, is to aggressively target the elite tight ends at the beginning of Best Ball Mania 6 opening, control my exposures to about half my teams having one of those 3 guys. So I'm double the field for each of those guys. And then on the other 50% of my teams, either just doing whatever correlates with my QBs, like if I had Josh Allen taking a Kincaid, or Lamar Jackson taking a Mark Andrews, which are those middle round tight end guys. Otherwise, slightly fading the middle round tight end guys, and then going with tight end in the later rounds. So rounds 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18, and grabbing maybe 3 of those guys for my 3 tight end builds. And what that's going to do is it frees me up to ignore tight end in the middle rounds, where I can focus on QBs and rookies that are going to have upside, draft capital, high draft capital, and good landing spots. So a lot of upside, maybe rookies that are going to continue to rise all summer long as the beat picks up and good news starts to break. And maybe some of those, not necessarily even rookies, but just RB2s win out jobs and start to rise up the board, or, things like that. So going to free myself up to grab a lot of guys in those middle rounds that are flexible, flex position players, running backs, wide receivers. Am I going to do any solo tight ends? Asked the Meat Gazer. I haven't done a solo tight end team in a while. I did. I'm not sure. I haven't specifically planned on it. It could happen. I did a solo QB team each of the last 2 years, but it depends on the tournament. So I did a solo QB in the Golden, where I only took Josh Allen, and I actually advanced that team. But that was just kind of like a rare one-off. So it depends on the tournament, but I don't know that I'm specifically targeting one tight end build. We'll see. Maybe to get a little bit unique, I kind of want to go Ken Walker here. Even though it's right at ADP, I'm trying to think what else would I need. Ridley, Olave. I'm good with a lot of these wideouts with my next pick. So let me go ahead and grab Ken Walker as my RB1. Yeah, I don't know. What about you, Meat? Are you planning on doing any specific one tight end builds? And who's the tight end? Like, would you say, okay, it's Kelsey, and then you stack him with Mahomes, and you're like, Kelsey's not dead kind of build, and then just bet on being right? That'd be interesting. Or, of course, Bowers, McBride, but Addison or Ridley? I'll just go Addison. I've been taking a lot of Ridley. Either way, if I miss out on Brian Thomas, I can still add. Well, maybe that's not. If I miss out on stacking Brian Thomas, I don't know if that's still true. I think Trevor Lawrence and JJ are kind of going really close to each other. It used to be that JJ was after Trevor Lawrence. Now, yeah, by ADP, Trevor Lawrence is actually after JJ, but about the same. If the Justin Jefferson drafter doesn't get him, there's a chance. So just giving myself one more out. But on second thought, Calvin Ridley would have been a nice out because Cam Moore definitely goes after Trevor Lawrence in majority of drafts. 1140 build. Hodetti says, been taking Ridley to hopefully stack with Cam. Yeah, I love that. I've been doing that a lot this in this big board tournament. Definitely something I like. Let me check my Cam Ward exposure. 18%. So one of my most drafted quarterbacks. And then Ridley is one of my more drafted, not most drafted, but one of my more drafted guys at about 12%. So I'm definitely into that. I was randomly looking up Devontae Adams' college stats today. Fresno State, way back in the day. He played 2 seasons there, 2013 and 2014. And I was like, wow, that was a while ago. He really puts into perspective Devontae Adams, how long he's been in the NFL at a high level. And while I do have a lot of Devontae Adams, I'm in the big board, and with him being on the Rams, which is pretty exciting, 11%, I'm probably going to be somewhere between 8 to 12% in Best Ball Mania on Adams, just because he can really blow up and win any week. At least he proved he could still do that last year, so I'm not out on him yet. Meat says, feeling some solo tight end. Yep. Mixing a little bit. Yeah, the cheapest guy. See, that's interesting to me. Yeah, because it definitely could work in that way. Let's brainstorm. Like, obviously, you're going to want them stacked with a quarterback that can throw a ton. So let's just take a quick look at tight ends by ADP. Hawkinson is a little bit, I mean, if you think Hawkinson's elite, he could be one to do it with stacked up. He's still underpriced to where he maybe truly should go. He didn't play every game last season. Jonnu's priced up to where he should be, but maybe he repeats that. I think Kelsey could be a guy to do it just because he's Travis Kelsey, and maybe we're still half kind of hedging that he's, dead and gone. And yeah, totally. Yeah. I know what you meant with Jonnu for sure. Could Njoku be that guy this year? He's not expensive. Kraft could be that guy. Likely could hit in a big way, especially if Mark Andrews gets hurt or is traded. But I'm not sure that he'll be traded. Past that, I don't know. Is it Ertz? Is Ertz the guy you'd want? Because he's the cheapest on the best offense in my mind. Yeah. Higbee's kind of a forgotten guy too. Although, what's his true ceiling season-long total scoring with Puka and Devontae Adams there taking target share? So if the Commanders don't do anything really significant with draft capital around wide receivers or tight ends in this year's draft, I think Ertz could be a guy to target. Unless you're just out on Ertz, you think he's old, kind of fading some of those older veteran guys. But for fantasy, as long as I can remember, tight end age does not matter. If anything, fade the younger guys. Jared Cook played forever, way up there in age, had some good 8 touchdown kind of seasons. I had another name, but I can't think of it. There's just so many of those names, those tight ends, who are good for a long time. Okay, this pick coming up, bummed to see the rookie wide receivers go. Travis Hunter goes 64. I'm curious to see what Travis Hunter's ADP is for the little board. I think it's going to be much higher. I think people are going to be taking him a lot higher than they were in the big board, because a lot of the time people were afraid. They're like, okay, I don't want to take Travis Hunter super early because a lot of teams are going to have him late from earlier in the season in the big board. So that's like people still waiting on Travis Hunter. But in the little board, you're not going to face any of those teams that were able to get Travis Hunter past pick 80. So I bet he goes earlier because people are more excited to take him there. I'm going to grab Caleb. I think he's a good prospect. Good to mix in on this team. And then I don't want to take Caleb necessarily. I don't really have any Ayuk. I could sprinkle in. I've been thinking about sprinkling in some Ayuk. On this team, it could make sense. I think I might just do it. Yeah, I'm going to grab Ayuk here. I have rarely drafted him, but as my wide receiver 5, there's some upside. And it looks like I'm going late tight end in this build. Maybe I'll throw in Goddard, but I don't even feel obligated to do that, knowing he's kind of on the trade block as it is. And then I passed on Caleb Williams. If a miracle happens and he comes back around, considering the Romajunze drafter was on the other side of me, Caleb's there at 107, I would grab him. But I don't think he'll be there. Yeah, just looking at this board, seems like a little bit of a steal to get Caleb Johnson at pick 83 when Trayvon's going 56 these days, even Quinshon at 73. So similar tier in my mind and very landing spot dependent. Could Caleb end up having less competition out the gate than Henderson in a backfield, ends up getting higher utilization, even though he's maybe not as talented? I think it's up for debate. Still, I'm a big fan of all of these rookie running backs. I want to be overexposed to them, especially in the big board. I know it's closing, but even in Best Ball Mania, to be determined. These draft landing spots are going to shake things up a lot. So yeah, really excited for that. I announced it earlier on the stream that Wednesday night I'm having Cody from Off the Schneid on the channel. I'm going to announce it on Twitter tomorrow. I've got the stream queued up on my channel, so you can see it there. And he's coming on. We're going to talk first round landing spots on Wednesday night, the night before the NFL draft. We're going to draft either a big board or a little board together. Just talk ball. It's going to be a fun time. Hope to see y'all there. Put it on the calendar for that one. And yeah, make sure you're subscribed. And if you like to turn notifications on, if that's your thing, do it. Be here. I'll be drafting Best Ball Mania all summer long. We'll be maxing Best Ball Mania with a lot of those showing up on stream. And so if you want to jump in, draft with me, talk ball while you're drafting, or just like to hang and kick it, I'm going to be here. So more to come. And yeah, it's going to be a good week. I'm going to be out tomorrow traveling, and then I'll be back Wednesday streaming, back Thursday probably streaming during the NFL draft. I think there are some things coming together around draft watch parties, so be on the lookout for that. I'll probably be retweeting some stuff about that, and then maybe even getting in some fast draft Origins Chaos drafts late Thursday night, which I think could be super fun. And I might jump back on my channel to do some of those. So we'll see how it goes. Friday, I don't know, because I don't know what's going to be available. I've been hearing rumors that Best Ball Mania is expected to drop Monday after the draft, which makes sense, right? You gotta get through the weekend, so the NFL draft concludes. So that would mean Friday, it would either be just talking ball or coming on, reviewing favorite teams. Something I was thinking about potentially doing on the Wednesday stream with Cody was we're gonna ask y'all, some of y'all in the chat and people in the Discords, to show off some of their favorite big board teams from all summer long, and then we could grab a few of those, maybe the top 5 or 10 favorites, and then review those. But because we've got now little boards to draft and potentially even big board, we pivoted to doing that. And so maybe Friday I'll come on and review some of my favorite teams from the big board season. Y'all can throw out some teams. That might be something fun to do, just to kind of kill some time before Best Ball Mania drops. Yeah, definitely excited for BBM 6, and I think my goal is still to do, as soon as Best Ball Mania 6 drops, to do a 4-hour mega draft stream, draft at least. I mean, these 20 rounders can take about an hour if you're unlucky, if they go long. The 18 rounders go a little bit quicker. Maybe we can get some stream drafts going that really chug along. And I'm thinking in 4 hours, that's got to be at least 5 or 6 Best Ball Manias. And then I'll probably do another 4 or 5 off stream in the first 24 hours since it drops. If I can, time permitting. That's a lot of time committed to drafting. But I want to get in a good amount of teams in at least the first 72 hours of Best Ball Mania. Probably, I'm aiming for like 10 to 15 teams during that window. Okay. I'm going to avoid Kelsey. I don't want Charbonnet. I can go Cam Scatabo. McMillan's there. Unfortunately, what was that? Caleb Williams went in the middle of this round. He almost made it back. Would have been kind of fun to get him. I'm going to go back to the well at running back. And then, unless there's anything else, I almost thought about taking Hawkinson with my last pick over Ayuk, because I've got the Addison pick already, and maybe I should have done that, because now I'm thinking that would have been kind of nice. So I get Scatabo. McMillan seems like a good pick. I'm really spreading out I was talking so much about team bets. I'm really spreading it out right now, though. Mason could be a click here. Let me do that one. That feels good. Jordan Mason actually feels like the right pick. So doubling down on the Vikings, where I got Jordan Addison earlier. And yeah, Jordan Mason, Jordan Addison. And then I think pairing Mason and Kenneth Walker with Caleb Johnson and Cam Scatterbo just gives a nice little veteran presence to offset the rookies just a little bit. So I'm into that. Okay. With picks 131, 134. It's gonna be tough. I think Trevor Lawrence or McCarthy could be there. Yeah, I'm just looking at my wide receivers real quick, and that's going to be the way to go. If I look at the board, I'm going to try to figure out where what the situation is with Justin Jefferson drafter. The guy in the 5 spot, he could be looking for Penix. He already got Mahomes, Kyler, and Caleb. Okay, no, that's the guy who took Caleb. Wow, so he's already got McBride and Kyler Murray, Patrick Mahomes with his Rice, and Caleb Williams unstacked. Interesting. I don't know. Maybe he autoed Caleb because it seems like what you would do if you were going to auto, you take the lowest ADP available. He kind of did it again with McMillan. So maybe I'm going to watch his next pick to see if it hits 0. I didn't really notice that at this point so far. Is he autoing? Because there's a good chance that JJ is going to be there for me with my next pick. And Baldman is kind of a wild card after going. He knows what he's doing, though. He's pulled up Garrett Wilson, Rome Odunze, and Cortland Sutton to this side of the board. But then he kept going. He took 5 wide receivers with Chris Olave. He's now taken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 running backs in a row. So Baldwin's kind of a wild card here. Does he like Trevor Lawrence? Completely unstacked. I mean, but he's got to be thinking about quarterbacks sooner than later. I think what I would do, I'm pretty sure that I would I want to take Trevor Lawrence first because I've got Brian Thomas. And it's a stronger bet based on draft capital than my Jordan Addison and Jordan Mason with McCarthy. So all things equal, I'm going to go Trevor Lawrence, and then if JJ McCarthy is still there, that's the pick. Interesting. Okay. Trey Harris could be a play out of here. Trey Harris would look good on this team. I haven't brought in any of those rookie wide receivers. I missed out on that tier earlier in the draft. So I'm going to go ahead and pair up Trevor Lawrence with Brian Thomas. Now let's see what Baldman does. Is he going to take JJ McCarthy from me, or can I mean, do I even want JJ McCarthy at this point? I might just stop with Jalen Hurts and Trevor Lawrence, honestly. Might be the way to play it. Yeah, he takes McCarthy. Probably the best case because I was going to lean to Trey Harris anyways. Still celebrating 420 with them sunglasses on, I see. Ha! John Paul O'Keefe. What's up, my man? How you doing tonight? Wow, McCarthy and Stafford. See, I knew he was going to be a wild card. Baldman drafting 5 wideouts 5 running backs in a row and then 2 quarterbacks. But I like Trey Harris here. Otherwise, it's a little bit early for these rookie running backs. I'm going to go Trey Harris. Yep. I like the limited things I've seen of Trey Harris, and on all the stats that I've seen, he's kind of popping off the page, yards per out run wise, against man coverage, zone coverage. So get a little bit more Trey Harris, get to 6 wideouts, feels good, feel pretty balanced so far, and definitely going to be a team where I'm taking more of a late tight end approach. So just keep hammering. I'm going to keep hammering guys that I can flex in these next couple rounds. So we'll look for some more upside picks. And time to change the vibe. There we go. I almost forgot. It's been an entire round. No, it's been 3 picks since I went in Scatabo. It's time. It's time to roll the clip. Let's do it. Every time gets me hyped. Still got to cut that down by a few seconds, but I mean, the man can break a tackle, to say the least. This one, I think the next pick, there's a couple running backs I'd like to get here. I feel pretty good about the running backs. It could be another wideout pick. It's kind of a wide receiver dead zone to an extent, especially after Quentin Johnston. Although I've been hearing a little bit of rumors that they may be looking to replace him in the draft, which I think could make sense with the Chargers. You know, they've got a later pick in day 1. I think they've got a couple later picks in round 2 and 3 as well. So, you know, are they drafting a wide receiver to replace Quentin Johnston? I don't know. I don't know if that's what their team need is showing. Yeah, Goddard goes there. Not a team I have to stack Hurts and Goddard on, so not really worried about that one. Get back here, my assets. Background music. Yes. Pump it back up. All right, this next pick. Wow, Michael Penix is still there. I just don't have a really good way to play that, except, yeah, because Kyle Pitts is already gone, and then besides the fact, the news that Kyle Pitts might be on the trade block, which I thought was pretty interesting from today. Giddens is a fun pick here for me. It's right at ADP. Got a lot of Giddens. Also kind of like Harvey, but he might still be there with my next pick. I think I'm just going to go Giddens here. Yeah, that's the play. Take some Giddens. No idea what Baldman's going to be doing. He's complete wild card. 2 more quarterbacks. The guy starts 5 wide receivers, 5 running backs, and then 4 straight quarterbacks. Maybe he's on to something. This is just the future. how to draft. But honestly, it's been working out well for me because a lot of the guys I want are still there. I probably should take Brenton Strange here, but I'm going to just push it one more and hope he comes back. Grab Harvey, and then I've got a lot of rookies in this running back room. Probably good with one more running back to finish it off. Could be a Will Shipley team. Who else I could take? I haven't taken any Roschon Johnson. I noticed that in my exposures. Haven't drafted any Roschon. Could be a way to play it. Lean back into the Chicago Bears offense. Wow, Michael Penix going pick 161. It's a good value pick. Cam Ward, Penix. I mean, this is the guy who took Calvin Ridley, Drake May. Yeah, he doesn't even have someone to stack Penix with, and he probably won't. I don't know. The problem with that is, even by his next pick, the likelihood that someone like Tyler Algier being there is still pretty low. Yeah, Algier goes right as I'm saying that. And then, but on the other hand, with the Drake May Cam Ward build, you probably do want that third quarterback anyways. So interesting. I don't know. I think it's tough. You also want to get your third QB before it dries up, and not hearing a lot of good things about Shedeur in this draft coming up Thursday. What's the difference between waiting for Dart and getting Penix at a falling value? I think Penix is probably still the way to play it, but just looking like what Falcons are there. Tough. Apparently I've taken Ray McLeod twice. It's probably times in a little board and a big board really early on where I had Penix and didn't have a way out similar to that. So it can be done. I just don't have a lot of confidence that a guy like Ray is going to repeat his career year. It really hadn't done anything like that before, and still 3 career touchdowns. So not a whole lot to go off there. Bummer. So Brenton Strange, who I had queued up, I saw him pop off the queue. Pick 170. Maybe a better pick than RJ Harvey with my team, but I'm fine. I've been hearing rumblings that the Jaguars could be taking Tyler Warren with their first pick. I don't know how likely that is, but it could happen, and Brenton Strange pretty much takes a huge hit if that happens. So could be possible. Otherwise, I mean, like that team I was showing earlier that I drafted over the weekend, Parker Washington available, Damien Brown still available later. Ooh, Kyle Williams would have been a nice name. Could have fit well on this team. A nice one to get. Maybe go ahead and take one tight end here, or just keep pushing it. I think this is not a bad range. Jalen Knowles there and has a little bit more upside in my mind. Who else? I don't know if I want Braylon Allen. I got enough of him. I'm gonna get Noel on this team. I have a decent amount of him, but I've now got like 3 late season bets, and then a pretty strong starting 4. I'm gonna grab some more veteran wideouts soon enough. Wow, interesting. Good. Baldwin has already started his tirade into the tight ends. He's switched off from drafting QBs to now drafting straight tight ends. Maybe that's how he ends it with his next couple picks. To be determined. One of the more strange tactics I've ever seen. And he's pulling it off to an extent, but yeah, Hunter Henry, I think, could just be a nice fit on this team at value, right at ADP. Pierce might have been a nice fit on this team. Doubtful he comes back around. Maybe going Pierce there over Noel. Maybe. Potentially a good bring back for the AFC South as well. Go ahead and throw the Eagles in here. And then Shipley's going to be on my radar real soon. I don't think I want any more Dotson exposure. I'm going to stay away from that one. Potentially the Eagles drafting a wide receiver at some point in this draft. And then with the Jaguars, in this order, I can always grab Gabe Davis much later if I want to. My Gabe Davis exposures from early on in this tournament, kind of in that February-March time frame. And then now I'm much more into Dyami Brown and Parker Washington. I think that's more of the way to play it, especially with the coach speak that's been coming out. Liam Cohn has been talking up Brown and Washington. Didn't even mention Gabe Davis. So I thought that was something I caught on to last week when I was on with Bindles that I brought up. And so I've been hammering Parker Washington since then. I think I've drafted him 6 times, all in the last week. Maybe I got him once earlier, and then Brown. I don't know why I didn't have a ton of him before, but I think just a fair amount, especially on these Trevor Lawrence teams. So far, a 2-6-7-1 build. Hurts with AJ Brown, Trevor with Brian Thomas. The rest of the team is just a bunch of guys. So I've got 2 Vikings. I've got a few upside rookie running backs. I've got quite a few of upside rookie running backs. I definitely need to look for like a veteran. One more veteran running back. It could be a 2-7-8 rebuild, potentially, with some late tight ends. Harold Finn would have been nice on this team. That's another pick. He goes to pick 190. I think this is one where I'm either going to take Mason Taylor or Elijah Arroyo at some point. Especially if they're still there kind of later with my last pick in 20th. Could be a spot to do it. Aaron Rodgers. Drafting Aaron Rodgers is, to me, pretty bizarre. Maybe this is more of a late rebuild, but I think Newton's at 3 QBs now. Yeah, he got Jared Goff and then had to kind of nicely double stack Goff, but somehow went with Kyle Pitts and didn't take Michael. Well, he didn't have the chance to take Michael Penix. He would have gotten really lucky there. Probably should have done it at the 12-13 turn instead of taking Jerome Ford, I guess. Would have been in better shape. on the clock. I want to get Brown. Let's look at the ADP real quick. I'm going to get Brown before I give Goldman a chance. Danny Brown. I'm a little exposure there. And then this fingers crossed, particularly still. He will be. Yeah, Baldman still on a tight end tirade. He went 5 wide receivers with some pretty good tactics of pulling Garrett Wilson up, pulling Odunze and Corton cutting on to the other side of the board. But then after 5 wide receivers, takes 5 running backs, 4 quarterbacks, and then 3 tight ends, but then stops for Trey Tucker. So, I mean, maybe he's stacking up with Dino. This is interesting. Interesting maneuvers. Late night draft, late in the tournament, the big board. Things you got to do to get unique, I guess. Do you really want to look at his team? Yeah, 4-5-6-3 build. But let's see how he's pulled it off. So he stacked McCarthy with Aaron Jones. Trey Tucker with Gino. So that's it. Good stuff. Like I said, I don't hate his wide receiver room. And his running back room, there's some solid bets there. How did the tight ends turn out? Kind of middling, some late round upside guys. It's interesting how this team shakes out. It's not correlated very well. There's not a lot of good ADP value. But it'll be interesting to see. Can he advance out of this pod with his really unique strategy? This Baldman 54 knows something. The rest of us are still waiting to learn. I like this squad so far. It's I've got 3 Eagles, 2 Vikings, and 3 Jaguars. Probably with my last 2 picks, I can get Parker Washington. That'd be nice. Jaden Blue goes. Hate to see it. I would have liked Jaden Blue on this team, even though I do have enough rookie running backs with upside. So yeah, at the same time, now that I'm thinking about it, it might not be a Parker Washington team because I have Brian Thomas and Dyami Brown. Maybe just stick with those 2, and then I'm pretty sure I'm going to need tight end with each of these last 2 picks. Also, kind of hate to see Mason Taylor go there at 208. Another guy I would have been targeting. Antonio Gibson goes. I'm glad that at least somebody else is drafting Antonio Gibson. My Antonio Gibson shares just got way too high. I think all of March I drafted him on almost every team. So I'm at like 20% Gibson. It's a little bit ridiculous. And then I think I also drafted him on my biggest board. I have to check that, but okay. Who are the tight ends that could be this year's Johnny Smith? Well, there's Conklin in a new situation where typically being a Chargers tight end is not a bad gig. He's pretty consistent year over year and not the worst pick. So Conklin. Do I take my first Taysom Hill share? Probably not. Calcaterra is a strange way to play it. I just think he's good enough, even if Goddard was gone. But 30-24, 300 yards and a touchdown. Honestly, better than some of these guys getting drafted. For instance, Theo Johnson's not far off from that. I think Higbee's a better bet. There goes Higby. As soon as I queued him up, he goes. What are the odds? Yeah. I think Okonkwo is not a bad bet. Definitely undervalued. I don't have a ton of him, which is kind of I don't know how that kind of happened, how it kind of shook out, but over 100 receptions in the last 2 seasons. There's not a lot of touchdown upside. But I think he's got more career touchdowns than Trey McBride over the same 3 years. He's at 6. What is McBride at? Six. Okay. I mean, a lot, vastly different in receptions and yardage, but oh, and Okonkwo goes as I was hyping him up. Son of a. Yeah, I want Parker Washington on this team. I think I need to hammer these tight ends and get some upside at tight end. A little bit of a late start with Hunter Henry. Then Conklin's going to be the way to play it, I think. Makes sense. If Baldman takes Arroyo, I'll take Parker Washington and stay with 2. Otherwise, probably go Arroyo. Yeah, I was drafting some Gunnar Helm. I could take Helm too. Could be a way to play it. A lot lower owned player. Maybe a better dynasty pick. Does he need to hit in year 1? So yeah, Baldman grabs 2 more tight ends, but dodges my rookies. I didn't see Baldman grab a lot of rookies. Unfortunately, drafted some Disley early on. It's all fine. Usually on 3 tight end builds. Is this too much Arroyo? I'm going to get 1 more Arroyo. Milroe goes about to go undrafted, it looks like. Kind of crazy. Should have gone Milroe there. 2783 build. Jalen Hurts and Trevor Lawrence. I have a single stack with Hurts, a double stack with Lawrence. Late tight end build. The wide receivers got a strong group in my first 4, and then some late season upside if Brandon Ayuk comes back, and is back to normal form by the end of the season. Also got Trey Harris and Jalen Noel. And then with the running back room, I think looks pretty decent. Some early, upside rookie running backs that could get some nice draft capital day 2. Jordan Mason, everyone's favorite click, everyone's favorite mid-round running back click in the big board. And then Giddens and Harvey, 2 other, day 2, maybe day 3 guys, but hopefully day 2. And then out of those 4 rookie running backs, one of them's bound to get a great landing spot, and potentially one of them can get in a good enough spot to show off their talent, get enough snaps, be efficient, be the next Devin Achane, something like that would be ideal. A lot of upside. And then Shipley just made sense in this build. Not a bad team. Not my favorite. Not a super team. Kind of lowly correlated. Just how it came together from the 11th spot. Would have liked to have gotten a Monroe with Brian Thomas. But overall, I think, this gives me an idea, maybe I don't know. Terry McLaurin's not really worth a 2nd round pick way up here ahead of all these other guys. But if you pulled him up, you can almost ensure you're going to get Daniels with them. Kind of it is exactly what the drafter did in the 3 spot, just on the other side of the board. Interesting. I want to see how it worked out for Uncle Michael. Jump back into this draft. Results, drafts. Yeah, I hate how if I refresh, there's always a chance the Underdog on Chrome browser goes kaput. So trying not to do that. Yeah, anyways, the team's not loading. Let's see. I'm interested to see how filled the little board is. Yeah, it's going to hit 10%. It's filling quick. It's going to hit 10% by midnight. Maybe just after midnight. By the time the West Coast gets to midnight, it's going to be 10% filled. It'll be 20% filled at the end of tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, 30%, 40%. So we're on track to be about 50% filled. So there is some overlay to chase. At the same time, do people just autopilot max enter it based off of ranks? I don't know. I'll probably draft a little board. I mean, if the big board closes and fills before the Wednesday stream with Cody, then I probably will draft a little board. Otherwise, I might not even enter it. Might just move right on to Best Ball Mania. I mean, the board's filling though. It's only 90%, 96%. I've been tracking it for a couple of days now since it was at 90%, and it's about 2% per day. So right on pace to fill. Does the little board opening slow it down a bit? I think it has. Just a little bit. Like I was saying earlier, the ADPs in the little board are going to be more time boxed. So there's some excitement to do that where you can take a Travis Hunter at pick pick 60, 70 and not worry about the guys who got him at pick 140 plus. Yeah, it is tough, Bud Daddy. I was thinking that like to max it in 3-4 days and no slows. Of course, I mean slows would be kind of a pain in the ass at this point, but it'd be hard. How you doing tonight, Who Hames? Hope you had a great weekend, my man, and thanks for saying what's up. Appreciate you coming by, as always. Let me see if it loaded. I just wrapped up a draft, but it won't load. I swear if I refresh this page, Chrome is going to crash. Underdog has... Okay, so we got lucky. Underdog has just been kind of miserable on Chrome browser. I bring it up like every single stream, but maybe they'll fix it. I had some technical difficulties 5 minutes before the stream started. I wanted to check out this drafter, Uncle Michael. I kind of liked how his team started. I want to see how it ended up. If he landed the plane. If you triple box and do 8-hour sessions, you can do it in basically 2 days. Savage. Yeah, crank out a pot of coffee and yeah, triple box it. That is fun though, and on the smaller tournaments, you can kind of rapid fire them. It makes sense to do at least 2 at a time, if not 3. 3 can get a little bit wild. Just make sure you have your positional settings configured. 3 QB max, 3 tight end max. Then you won't run into as many issues doing that. And yeah, that's a pretty funny idea. Yeah, this is good. Okay, let's review this team. 2-5, 10-3. Interesting numbers right off the bat. 10 wide receivers. Kind of eye-popping. He brings Jaden Daniels up in the 3rd round to match with 2nd round Terry McLaurin. He then takes Bryce Young. So I would agree with this approach. If you're gonna bring Jaden Daniels forward, he's already an elite QB. You definitely only take 2 QBs. And Bryce Young, I think, is a little bit undervalued. Even though he might suck, he might get benched again. He's got a lot more upside than these other veteran QBs like Stafford, even, or especially Rodgers or Wilson on a range. He can run a little bit too. And he's not a running quarterback, but the youth comes out, and he might scramble for a touchdown or two more than expected. Otherwise, you're filling a bye week, or you're getting a rare, random week 15, 16, 17 spike week, which Bryce Young has shown he could potentially do. So the other thing was he got Saquon. It was his third pick. He immediately paired Saquon with two Commanders. So he got a little divisional correlation. I like that. He caught a falling Breece Hall at pick 46. And Chase Brown at pick 51. So this guy, I see why he stopped with 5 running backs. Honestly, could have stopped at 4 with Ramondre. Kareem Hunt, maybe you just feel strongly about that pick. He takes him with one of his last picks. So, I mean, this is a really strong running back room in my mind. He double stacked. I didn't notice that he had drafted Debo earlier. That's interesting. Myers is fine. Kirk is fine. These are kind of more floor plays, flex week guys, but the Mims can give you a spike, as we all know. Jaden Higgins is an interesting upside rookie. Maybe getting steamed up a little bit. So Dax, Leggett, and Coker. A late Slayton for some spikes. Another rookie that people have cooled on, but is potentially undervalued at this point. And then he stacks Ertz and Sanders and throws in a Harold Bannon Jr. This is a sick team. I'm not going to lie. The wide receivers, a bit underwhelming. Something left to be desired. But he took 10 of them. He's got 2 double stacks. And some decent upside. Yeah. Running another. Yeah, that running back room is fire. Hey. Should I run another? Probably won't run another. I've got a flight tomorrow morning I gotta catch. It's gonna be quite early, quite a long day tomorrow. Going to St. Louis and back all in a day. So I think the call is to not do another one, unfortunately. It would be, I mean, I'm kind of bummed because the big board's closing. That was my 75th draft, so I've half maxed the big board, which is pretty much where I want to be with it. If you weren't here earlier in the stream, I have some news, some exciting stuff. Wednesday, I've got a stream scheduled with Cody from Off the Schneid. We're going to do an NFL draft preview. We're going to talk about day one landing spots, fantasy implications, and definitely draft a little board, no doubt. At least one. If the big board's still open, maybe we do one of those. But that's what I got cooked up for later this week. So look out for that stream on Wednesday with Cody. I'm gonna announce it on Twitter in the morning. I got it scheduled. I've got it queued up on my channel. So if you set that notification, that's gonna be a fun one. It's gonna be Wednesday night, 9:30 Central. So typical late start for myself. And looking forward to chatting it up with Cody. Yeah, I know I can't draft on the plane, which sucks. I'll have to figure it out. I think I'll have some airport time. It's tough to fit in a 20-round draft in while waiting to board the plane. Typically, it's yeah, St. Louis. Going there for work tomorrow, so I'll be flying into St. Louis and for a work meeting, and then I'll be back here at home by nighttime, but it'll be too late to do a stream tomorrow night, so I'm gonna be off tomorrow. But I want to get one in today because I was off most of the weekend, chilling with family. Had a nice weekend. It was good. Spent a lot of time with family. Got a few drafts, just a few drafts in off stream. I'm I'm gonna do one thing quick though before I go. And oh, it's Hartman. I always see Hartman and Huhames, and for some reason it's just the H and a similar number of letters. It looks like one name to me sometimes. I'm gonna do something right before I go. I'm gonna check something. I'm gonna check fast draft just to see, because I could definitely do a 10-minute fast draft before I sign off if I can fill one. So fast draft origins chaos. I'm looking right now. And oh, waiting on one. Okay, we're doing a fast draft. Let me plug it in. Transitioning music to something a little bit faster. And then give me 1 sec while I plug my phone in and get the stream set up for the fast draft. Boom, banner. Still waiting on one in this fast draft. So if you download the app, if you want to get in and do this one, getting it set up in the next minute or two as we wait for it to fill. Let me just oh, I already did that. What do I need? What do I need? What do I need? That's not it. 1 sec. Getting it set up. It's going to fill. There's one to fill for this fast draft origins. The rookie only. 6 rounds. 10 players. 60 picks. I just got to set up my... Yeah, that's fine. Okay, that is... Okay. I did have it set up right. I just always forget. Yes. Okay. Got it. Still waiting on one to fill, but I'm about to share it on screen. Boom. Okay, I'll go vertical until it actually fills. Oh, no, that's not it. I got it. I fixed it. I'll fix it. Share window. There we go. Okay. And then a slight change to the overlay. Perfect. Beautiful. Okay. Nice. Yeah, but I can tell you guys apart for sure just by your subject matter. Hartman's a savage, and Huhames is a sweet man. Huhames would never say some of the things that Hartman says. No, I'm just playing. Okay. Fast draft origins. Let's get rid of that banner. Fast draft origins. I think it's super fun. I'm enjoying it. I've done 2 in this Origins Chaos. It's the second tournament they've opened in their Origin series. Rookies only. And yeah, if you're new to it, you want to download the app, you get a $50 deposit match. Use code GARAGE if you want. But I'm enjoying it, having a lot of fun. And let's look at some rankings. Okay, I'm going to throw it sideways now and just see what it does. And then I can... Yeah. Yeah, I can... It looks better sideways when I'm drafting. But for looking at the rankings, I think it's easier this way, actually. Oh, it filled. Nice. Let's get it. Who says I have no idea? I don't know about that. Okay, so it filled. I was going to work on my rankings. I had set my rankings in the other Origins tournament, and that one closed about last week. And then now my rankings have not carried over. So I had to reset my rankings. I don't love the current rankings, but we can just do this together. Let me go sideways. I think we'll see. I think sideways is the way to do it. Yeah, and then I'm just going to change my camera really quick to that. I think we're cool with that. Looks kind of funny. Okay, Genty, Cam Ward, Hampton, the super chalk start in these ones. Rookies only, season long, total scoring weeks 1 to 17, and it's PPR, full PPR. There's no positions. It's all flexing players. Through every single week, you'll start 4, you'll have 2 on your bench, and then at the end, one of the unique little quirks is you get modifiers, and you can have a ×2 modifier, 1.75, 1.5, 1.25, and then 2 of your players get the 1 point modifier. You can get unique in that way. Looks like Sabetka has got some kind of ribbon, or no, he's got the bunny. So I'm not sure. He's got the fast draft bunny. Not 100% sure what that means actually. Fantasy pick. Any name? I don't know if I recognize any names in this room. Not necessarily, but I wouldn't be surprised if I've drafted with some of these guys. Right next to Poot Poot. I think I'm gonna go Judkins. I would have liked to go on Tet. He takes Shador. Probably could have gone Egbuka there, but I feel like it's hard to pass up on potential workhorse running backs who in the right landing spot could just crush in year 1, right? So I love Quinshon. If you've seen the intro, if you've seen the outro, it's 30 seconds, and 8 of those seconds are Quinshon highlights. Yeah, Egbuka goes there. Egbuka would have been sick. A nice faller to pick 13. Hey, what up, Meg? How you doing? Oh, appreciate ya. That's awesome. That's awesome. Hit the like and love. Late night jams. Did I? No. These are definitely some late night jams. Ooh, an interesting start from Sebrez 80. Double tight end dip. Even though it's full PPR, I'm fading tight ends because there's no positional reason to take a tight end when you could take a running back at the same thing. I keep scrolling my mouse, but it's actually on my phone here. With the next pick, okay, let's do this. I'm gonna go with Dart. I think Dart is the pick over Golden these days. In the previous fast draft Origins, Dart was going much later, and I was pulling him up to this kind of 1-2 turn often, so I had a lot of Dart exposure in that tournament that closed. He's still going in this range, but now his ADP was like, I think it was like between 17 and 20 in the previous tournament. Now it's closer to 12, 13. And I do think if Jackson Dart, obviously if he plays all season long, he's a smash here. So you kind of have to risk it, risk reward. Does he actually start? If he doesn't start, this team's dead, but yeah, Putt Daddy. You already know Cody and I are going to be drafting a little board most likely on Wednesday, and we're going to be talking round 1 landing spots, referencing his mock draft stream that he did, and just talking through some player takes. We're going to do an NFL draft preview Wednesday on stream here on the channel. I'll be promoting that out on Twitter tomorrow. I've got it queued up on my YouTube channel, so if you want to set a notification or just know that it's gonna be Wednesday night late 9:30 Central. And then Meg, I wanted to mention, I was giving a shout out to Fanspeak earlier on stream, but I got I got the cocktail playbook and I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Shout out to FF Chalupa Batman. And I've been flipping through. I'm a cocktail guy myself. So the one that's, I think, probably going to be one of the first ones that I make is, and there's one for each city and one for each team, which is really cool. I've been eyeing the Los Angeles. Oh, and I'm on the clock just like that. I forgot about the third round reversal. Ah! Y'all saw nothing. Tootin or Giddens. I'm going to go Tootin. Okay. Nice. Just like that. Drop the phone. Drop the book. The Los Angeles Supercharger Margarita. It's going to be a good one. And it's got jalapenos and tequila. And lime juice. And some other good things. But I'm definitely a big fan of Tex-Mex and margaritas here in Houston. And so that's one that I'll try for sure. There's a bunch of good ones in there. But yeah, fun. It's a fun little book. I'm excited to dive into it. Sorry about the technical difficulties there. Trying to show the board. I keep forgetting it's on my phone and I keep touching my laptop. But then you already know what's up. Okay, back on it. I've got Jordan James ranked here. Maybe ETN. Maybe Horton's a nice pick. Maybe Blue's a nice pick. I'm just going to feel it out. I'm just going to take Blue. I think Blue is a great pass catcher and potentially is getting completely slept on in this at this point. You know, maybe he's a huge surprise in the draft. Show me a guy like Kent Allen and Woody Marks and compare him to Jaden Blue. I'll take Jaden Blue 10 out of 10 times. Horton and Jordan James are still there, guys that I also like. Go to ADP real quick just to make sure it's Tyler Shook or I'm going to take some Horton. I don't think I've taken a ton of Horton in this format, but yeah, double elite tight end build at 10. Except, I mean, I like it for me because I get some value falling to me. There's no positions in this, right? So like your quarterback, everyone's a flex. So you're having quarterbacks and tight ends scoring in the exact same way. And I know it's full PPR, but still, these are a lot of rookie tight ends we're talking about. The thing with quarterbacks is you're just hoping they start. You know, if Jackson Dart doesn't start, he's a dead spot. And I'm probably going to put a pretty high modifier on him with that. Like a pick like Kyle McCord, now that we're at the end of the draft, I mean, not a guy that I'm drafting, but I did take a lot of Tyler Shook in the previous tournament. He's going higher than he used to. He used to be a last round pick. Okay. See, I could take Quinn Ewers there. Let me do something real quick to fix. It's on ADP, but I want to flip it back to my ranks. And then I'm gonna go Yarns here. Yeah, got him. And that's where my ranks start to like deteriorate, is because I haven't fully reset my ranks yet. And once I get past pick 60, it's kind of a mess. So I still need to fix that. I might do that real quick before I close out the stream. But all right, let's check it out. So we drafted, that whole draft only took 8 minutes, which is another fun thing about these Origins drafts. They're super quick. Of course, I was dead last in pick time. I screwed up a few picks there. Not that I got the pick wrong, but I kind of like flipped my phone a few times. Weird. I ended up with, out of the 8 spot, and the third round reversal, which is always kind of a fun feature. Judkins, Dart, Tootin, a little bit of Tootin. I'm working on a Tootin clip actually, and I might just wait until the draft to see exactly where he goes. But working on a Tootin highlight clip. Blue, you're my boy Blue. I should probably throw together a blue highlight clip as well. I'm starting to think, and I'm reading the tea leaves, hearing things about some of the teams in the NFL and who they like. I think they do like Jaden Blue a decent amount. He's fast. He's a speed back. He's a good complementary back. He had 14 total touchdowns last season on one of the best in the best conference, SEC. On one of the teams that was playing really strong competition, Texas. And not that I'm a homer or any favoritism here, but yeah, I mean, he's a big play waiting to happen. Horton, coming off the knee injury, I think he's still undervalued. I typically do like to go really running back heavy in these Origins drafts. And then Yarns, guy out of Delaware. I don't know a lot about him. Honestly, haven't watched a lot of Yarns tape, just going off of what I hear from other smart people, that he's a good pass catcher. I think he's rated like the third best overall pass catching back in this class. I think it's a PFF grade on his receiving ability for running backs, but just from what other people are saying about him, it feels like a good late pick in a full PPR format. So yeah, a little bit of an overview there. Boom, I'm the slowest. I'm going to just check. I'm going to quickly check to see how close it is to filling again. Boom. So there's also the Flex 4 I'm going to check in to see. Flex 4 is all of the players, not just the rookies. It's a much bigger tournament. It goes all the way until the first game of the season, so through beginning of September when NFL season starts. This Origins Chaos is going to wrap up pretty quick. I think it concludes at the end of the NFL draft, if I'm not mistaken. So let's check out another Chaos, see if it's close. I'm going to guess it's, potentially not super close to filling it. 8 more to fill, back out of this one. So we'll do another Chaos another day, potentially during the draft later this week. And let me just jump into this Flex 4 and see what that looks like. 4 more to fill. Could be interesting. If it jumps up a spot or two in the next few minutes, I'll go ahead and stick in it. Otherwise, let me just look at my ranks real quick. So like I was saying, full point PPR, season-long total scoring weeks 1 to 17. I still have been following a similar ADP to like the big board, where I really like Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. Then I go Barkley, Bijan Gibbs, CeeDee Lamb goes next, Puka, and these are my ranks. I have Nico ahead of Neighbors, Amon-Ra, Brian Thomas, Genty, McCaffrey, Achane. For some reason, McCaffrey's a little undervalued in this tournament, and I have a theory on that. Typically what I've seen so far in the fast drafts is a little bit more of a lean into these tournaments from the Dynasty Bros. And they are definitely out on older players. So knowing that this is a season-long best ball tournament, is there a little bit of some arbitrage? You can take advantage of that. McCaffrey in full point PPR, he should be a top 10 pick. I've got him ranked at 13. His ADP is 16.7. I'm going to keep his ADP. I'm going to keep my rank of him a few spots ahead of ADP because all things equal, if he's healthy, he's a first round pick. He's a top 5 pick. If, maybe he's not the same McCaffrey we've always had, but he's not going to be, who knows? But, is he healthy? That's the question mark. I think that risk is already baked into this price. Full point PPR, I want more of him. So I'm going to get more McCaffrey kind of by losing out on a little bit of Achane there. I've got Derrick Henry kind of right at ADP. Maybe take him a spot or two after. But then, yeah, for the first, to wrap up the first. And so this is still 60 picks. There's 6 rounds, 10 teams. So you really only have to rank about 100 players. And I do like to mix it up. So, I'll take a Najee Harris or another running back that typically is out of the first 60 picks with my last pick, just to get some uniqueness to change it up, because there's going to be a lot more teams entered in this type of tournament. Jonathan Taylor, it's tough because you also have to think about it's season-long scoring. So it's season-long scoring. It's a bit different. You're not looking for those same spike weeks in the playoffs to pay out. So while I might want to move Jonathan Taylor back because it's PPR, full point PPR, and a guy like Higgins has a higher weekly ceiling, potentially. I mean, obviously JT can still rush for 3 touchdowns in any given week. But season-long scoring-wise, I mean, JT seems like a smash. So I actually might want to move him up in my ranks a little bit. Like, what are the odds that Drake London and McConkey outscore JT season-long? I don't know. I got to think about these ranks a little bit more. In the same way, there's no position for tight end. It's all flex. So even though Trey McBride's kind of a smash pick as a tight end, as a flex position, to me, he's not as good as a T. Higgins. Yeah. I don't know. I got to think more about these ranks. Let's see what's up with Huhames. I need to do some fast draft now that's about filled. The percent owned feels like a cheat late drafting. Yeah. And those are my percent owned. So I've only actually done 2 flex 4s so far. I thought I had done maybe a little bit more, but no, you know what it was? I did do more because you get 5 free rolls, and it's a different particular tournament for bonus cash. But I use those to warm up and get familiar with the app and how it goes, and kind of the third round reversal, and get my rankings squared away. So I've done 7 flex 4s, 2 of them with the $5 entries, and then I'm gonna go ahead and leave because I don't think it's gonna fill with 4 more waiting. Unfortunately, it would have been fun to do one more. I'll check Origins real quick one more time. Oh, this is Origins Chaos. Okay, so I think I did I must have done 8, 10, or 12 of the original Origins, and the new Origins, which is $5. The other one was 10, I think. And this new one, yeah, it was. And this new one, I've only done 3. It's been open for a couple days. Yeah, still 7 to fill on that one. So that's the overview. So yeah, this first one had filled up. This Chaos one's a bit smaller, but its typically its purpose is to run during the NFL draft. Hence the Chaos element in there. What was Huhames saying? Doesn't the website show you percent owned for entire tourney? Yes, it does. It does. You're right. You're right. You're right. I think you can see that by going. I honestly forget. I know I've seen it. Maybe it's while you're drafting. Let me know if you know about that for sure. Maybe it's like while you're drafting. Yeah. That I think you're right, Hartman and Huhames. I know for a fact I've seen it because you're right. No, it is. That's because my whole point on Najee was like he was much lower owned than he should be for a player that could be a smash. So that's what's fun about that Flex 4 is you're pulling guys, you're scrolling the F down, you're pulling guys in. They're going in those much later picks that still could pay off. The Origins, it's kind of fun because you're predicting the landing spot of the rookies, and by the time you get to pick 60, it's like, are there even going to be 60 impact picks for fantasy? Probably not. So you really have to run a little bit more pure in the Origins draft. And then even if you draft the winning combo, set your modifiers the right way. So that's a fun one. It's probably going to be, I'd be curious. I would think a certain team build or player combination will do very well consistently in the Origins versus the Flex 4. We're going to see, there's a dozen ways to get right there. There'll probably be very different teams in that one. And it's such a bigger tournament. ADP is going to shift, whatever. So it's exciting. And then, yeah. That's why I was waiting to start up a fast draft. Oh, gotcha. To see more ownership exposure. Yes. Yeah, that's actually pretty smart. Duhaimes, I'll say it again, super sharp drafter. Always one step ahead. That's going to do it for me tonight. Guys, I'm wrapping it up there. Appreciate y'all coming out tonight, hanging out in the stream. I did a big board. It went all right. It was an all right draft. All right, big board. And then we got to do a fast draft Origins on stream. That was cool. Looking forward to doing more of those. And I'll catch y'all Wednesday night. Come out to that stream. It's gonna be super fun. Me and Cody from Off the Schneid. Wednesday night, talking first round landing spots, doing a draft, probably a little board, maybe a big board. We'll see. I'll let the chat decide. I'll throw it in the poll at the beginning or something like that. And more good stuff to come. More best ball drafts all summer. You know where to find it. Make sure you're subscribed. I'll catch y'all in another draft real soon. And have a great start to your week, guys. And peace. But overall, it's like the guy can ball. Like actions speak louder than words.